Hi, I'm Mych Meckes. This is my submission for my Competency Evaluation number 4, or IB, which states that candidates can explain how students' first language proficiency in listening, speaking, reading, and writing transfers to and supports English language acquisition. Now, to complete this assignment, we were given a couple different resources to review. The first one was an article entitled A Critical Interrogation of the Language Gap. Now, in this article, I think one of the sentences that Dr. Johnson said was that basically schools are not equipped to deal with kiddos that are culturally, linguistic, or economically diverse. I think that kind of sums it up, right? That's basically the, the gist of it. It's very unfortunate. I shouldn't smile about that because it really is. The article talked about how kiddos that grow up in a lower income environment, they have a different language. They develop a different language because the experiences are different, right? That's how we develop language, based on our experiences. And but it differs from our dominant class language expectations in the school setting. And so they struggle, not because they don't know the concepts, not because they can't do what we ask them to do, but because of that communication issue. And that's not their fault. Unfortunately, they're being punished for that, and we call this gap, this language gap, because kids that don't understand because of the language, but we're not addressing them at their language. We're not helping them to meet the standards per se, or we're not helping them to progress because we're not appreciating what their language background and what they need and what their needs are for to be successful in the classroom. And I think the article talked about some of the different organizations and the media, lovely media, and even really well-meaning professional development trainers and educators, right? They want to help everyone, and so we talk about this language gap, like, oh, these kids don't speak our language. We need to be able to help them, and they want to, but they what the connotation is a deficit. These kids are at a deficit, or they're inferior to us, and so they are, you know, countrywide or whatever. They're making it worse, right? We're not helping. We're trying to help, but we're not, because we're not appreciating or validating their unique language, which is equal to any others, right? They all are. And so the article kind of talked about that and how unfortunate it was. And there's a couple examples in there that were really sad, that really hit home and stressed to me that there are teachers that are not setting the bar high enough for some of these kiddos because they don't feel they're capable. So they set these low expectations instead of high expectations for all, which we know is appropriate, right? They can all do it. So instead of trying to meet them where they are, trying to help them through communication, right? Just through appreciating and understanding and utilizing their way of expressing themselves to gain the concepts. Instead of doing that, we're just saying that they're not good enough, and that's not good. No bueno, right? Is that how you say it in Spanish? I think not good. But unfortunately, it happens a lot, and that's basically what the article was talking about. And I think Dr. Johnson had offered some examples of some things that we can do as educators to kind of help with that. And the first starts right in our own little environment. I mean, we all have PLCs, we all have team, whether it's grade level teams or special ed teams. We all have team members. We work with a lot of people, and anytime there's a conversation that leads to the idea that these kiddos are at a deficit, or these kiddos are behind or not capable, or whatever it is that contributes to the idea that their language is not okay, we need to say something. We need to speak up for that, because really I wouldn't have even thought so much about standing up for that if I hadn't taken this course, right? I think all of the teachers that I work with are very well meaning, and we do what we can, and uh, but I don't think they realize that how certain words really carry on this whole idea that there's any language that's better than another, right? And so I think just at home, yeah, like I said, just talking to your teachers and saying that. Dr. Johnson had also mentioned, do your research, right? I know this summer is a research summer for me. I'm going to come back to school ready to be a better teacher. I really will. But also write articles. That was another thing that he had suggested. Do mentoring with low-income students. That's always a good one. I've been mentoring for years. And that is a great way to get to know kids and to validate them, which is a huge, huge part. But probably my favorite suggestion that what the article stated was to just remember to focus on strengths, not weaknesses, right? Now, in the whole scheme of teaching, we have to be able to talk to kids about it, about everything. But if you focus on how great they are, right, then it'll help fall in place. Anyway, that was the article. But then there was also a video. I think it was a TED Talks video with Dr. Johnson honoring Spanglish as a resource. And I think this video, I think even though it was um, educational and instructional, somewhat, I kind of cried a little bit. The little girl, the statement about the little girl that how she didn't understand why. I know she just didn't feel validated. She doesn't know why she couldn't talk the way she talks. That's all she knows, right? So at her identity, like I think he mentioned, was attacked. And that is horrible. I had, I felt like I'd done a lot of picture cards, as a teacher. I feel like I've done picture cards. I've done some Spanish, English around the classroom. But because I'm an English only speaker, I don't think I have had the confidence or even the thought to really, really embrace Spanglish in the classroom. And I'm a little ashamed to say that. It was certainly not because I didn't think it was a valid thing to do, but you just don't really know the benefit until you start to learn about it. And it makes complete sense. It makes absolutely complete sense. And it's more than just having lunch with kids and saying, okay, what are you going to teach me today in Spanish, right? Which we did a lot of that. I did a lot of that. But it's more than that. You have to be able to tie what they already know in their language into what we're trying to teach them, right? Because they know it. They know so much that we aren't aware of because we're not listening to their language. We're not appreciating their language well enough. And I keep saying we. I'm saying teachers on the whole, not that every teacher on the whole does that, right? I know that there's a lot of teachers that are amazing, but I like to group myself that way. Anyway, so I really enjoyed I really enjoyed that video, and I will certainly be using Spanglish in the classroom more often. And I'm appalled at the statement that no Spanglish is allowed. That just breaks my heart to think that a local school, I believe he said, had something like that. That is horrible. As we've been talking about since we started this class, no language is better than another, right? And Spanglish is just another um, language, just another language, and we need to present that, and we need to be able to intertwine the two, which I guess leads me to my closing statement, which basically, if we don't incorporate, say, Spanglish for an example, in the classroom, then we're basically alienating kids. We're telling them that what they know, what is their experience, is not good enough, and that's not true. That couldn't be further from the truth. So by intertwining, letting them learn through their language, right, and intertwining the two, we are not only validating who they are and giving them confidence, we're helping them. We're scaffolding almost in a sense, because they're able to see, oh, well, I know that this is this based on us kind of intertwining the two. I think it's incredibly important, and I think not to do it in any classroom. And again, I'm in a fourth grade gen ed class, and I have a small percentage of ELL students this last year, but I think in every single class we need to get to know our students, and we need to be able to intertwine their language. And so this summer my goal will be to learn how to do that, be comfortable myself with being able to write and Spanish language on the wall, and be comfortable that yeah. preferable. I don't know. I think that's all I have to say. We need to do a better job. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye.